Dr. Maslow passed away on the 17th of June in 1970, the same day that I walked across the stage at Cobo Hall in Detroit and was handed my doctoral degree. And it was almost as if he handed me a baton. And he said that I've explained this concept of elevated consciousness. He called it self-actualization. I've explained it to the academic world. If you've read Toward a Psychology of Being, and most of you know about the pyramid of Maslow and studied him and so on. Well, he said when you get this, and he knew that we were in training to become therapists, that if you ever really want to reach a person that you want to help, if you're in the helping professions, or if you're a parent, or if you're a priest, or if you're a teacher, or a counselor, or a psychologist, psychiatrist, whatever it might be, if you really want to reach another human being, he said, when you sit down to talk to them, don't talk to them about their problems. Don't spend more than a minute or two on their problems, because you become what you think about, whether you want it or not. And he used to say that therapy is for better or for worse. That if you're operating at a lower level of self-actualization than the person you're attempting to help or to heal, then you will not only not help that person, you will keep them from being able to grow. You will be doing them a disservice by just being in their presence. And speaking to them about their problems, and we used to say, what do you mean? And he would say, get them to focus on what they want to become. That self-actualizing people never place their attention on what they don't want or what they can't do. They're not even wired together that way. They're wired together in a very different way, a way that's very difficult to explain, but, and I didn't know that I was going to be talking about this right now, because I just know that I don't deliver the speeches, that God writes all the books and delivers all the speeches and builds all the bridges, and this is what I'm supposed to talk about for a little while tonight. Paramahansa Yogananda used to open his talks by saying this, shh, shh, listen, can you hear the music? He would say, can you hear the music? It's playing. It's playing. Why can't you hear it? Oh, give someone over there a radio and turn it to 96.5. And the music plays. And give someone over here one and it's 91.3, and you'll hear the music playing. There's music playing all over the place, but we can't hear it. Now take that radio and open it up and see if you can find the music in there. There's no music in that radio. He said, that's how God is. You just can't hear it because you're not aligned. And the minute that you align, you'll hear it all. And boy, I'll tell you, I've never forgotten that. I wasn't blessed to ever be with Paramahansa Yogananda, but I read everything about him and all of his teachings. Passed away when I was a young man. I read a book this past summer called Healing Back Pain by John Sarno. Wonderful book. If you suffer from any kind of back pain, I recommend it. It's about 80, 90 pages. I didn't bring it with me. I bring books that really touch my life with me, but I couldn't get copies of this thing. And he suggests that something like 98% of the people in the country who suffer from back pain suffer from it not because there's anything wrong with their back, even though they have pain. And that if you do a diagnosis of it, you may see subluxations, and you may see little cracks, and you may see a wearing away of the material between the discs, and you may see all of these kinds of things, and that because you see them, and because you look at x-rays, and because you go through this process, and you talk to people in the field who are a part of this kind of consciousness, that you walk away believing that you have something wrong with your back. And as a result of believing that you have something wrong with your back, you create this enormous stress on yourself, particularly if you've been very active in your life, if you've been an athlete, if you've run, and so on. And then you start contemplating yourself being in a wheelchair, or not being able to move, or not being able to get about, and so on. And in the process of thinking about this, you create this enormous stress on yourself. And this stress that you create on yourself is the cause of what he says, about 98 out of 100 cases of back pain. This is a medical doctor who has studied this back pain thing. Every time there's a Newsweek cover story on back pain, John Sarno is the person that they consult. But what he said, which is most alarming, is that if you, and he was talking to me because I was experiencing back pain, playing tennis and running and all of these kind of things, and I could feel it in my back. And I was saying all of the things that he said everybody says in there. And then I'm looking, as I'm reading the book, I'm looking for some suggestions. I'm looking for some helpful kinds of things that I can use to get rid of my back pain, and he never offers any in the whole book. All he says is that it takes about 8 weeks of every single day affirming to yourself that there's nothing wrong with your back. Just continuously affirming that to yourself, that there's nothing wrong with my back. And instead of when you're going to get up from having dinner and you get ready for that, you get up and you say, there's nothing wrong with my back, and you just get up. And when you're going to get out of bed in the morning, instead of expecting it to be, you just say, there's nothing wrong with my back. And he said it takes 8 weeks.
And if you can accept the diagnosis, you'll eliminate your back pain. The problem is that people cannot accept the diagnosis because they've got pain and they've got cracks and they've got subluxations and they've got people telling them they need to have surgery or any number of things that are going on in their lives. So it's what Abraham calls resistance. There is allowing and there is resistance. And resistance is taking on a set of internal beliefs within yourself that something can't work out, that I can't do this, that it's impossible.